Let's skip the BS and jump right into the mess. So clearly, in my video that I posted a couple of days ago, I was 1000% correct. I am not going to waste anybody's time playing this half-hearted, self-serving BS of an admission or apology or whatever that Tamar took her sweet, precious time to come out with and still managed to frame herself as a victim somehow. What I will do, though, is go ahead and pause this right here for a moment so that I can insert the video that I was already working on last night and for the better part of today to get her right on together and then move into what we need to do as a community to keep stuff like this from continuing to happen. Let's get into the funeral, shall we? What's up, brownies? Now, if you have not seen my first video that I made clearly stating who I hold at fault for the Chrisean Tamar situation, you need to go and watch that first and then come back to this video because I'm about to hold a funeral for no snitch culture and for protecting violent people at the expense of victims. So that you can be abundantly clear that my comments under James's IG post requesting that he post more receipts was not because I doubt him, not because I believe Chrisean, but because there's an exorbitant amount of people on the internet right now seriously questioning whether or not this actually happened to this man, despite Chrisean has a known history of violence. And I think the reason for that was because of the dog whistle language that she used in her live, where she weaponized her womanhood and also had some undertones of homophobia. I said what I said. So I'm going to play the clips to show you why I'm saying what I said. Then I'm going to go back and we're going to take a look at everything that was happening to her friends and her team in the meantime, in between time, while she sat silent for 2 to 3 days, trying to figure out how she can spin this and make herself the victim again. But let's get into Chrisean's lie denying everything.
He not gay, but he like whatever. He like boys. Him, I don't know how you say. I don't want to be rude, like, cause I'm not on this. I don't know what's going on and what popping it. Like, I'm not just a female. Like,
before I play the rest, I just want to point out that whether or not he's gay or like boys really has nothing to do with this situation. And also, I don't know why he's coming at me, and acting like I'm not a female. Now you want to rest in your femininity? Yeah.
And the clout chasing is kind of is getting out of hand. So. But nah, it was nothing between me and Tamar. It had nothing to do with any of that. But I don't know I don't know. It was just like wicked stuff started happening, and then I don't know. And then I let that go. I went to a party, went back home to my kid, nigga. But like, I have fun. What I don't get is the storytelling. Like, why everybody storytelling? Y'all got all the videos of us cheering, praying, y'all was posted that. Post the y'all talking about because everything is recorded and documented. So I'm telling y'all what happened. I would take accountability of what happened. I had fun. That's what the happened. All this other false narrative saying this happened, she did that. It was some other shit. Like, the guy that's talking about how he put it together, he didn't put anything together, and I never talked to him. I directly talked to Tamar. She communicated that I could come out, and that was that. I don't know who that guy is because I never talked to him.
Now, back to what I was saying earlier. First and foremost, I'm going to give Chrisean a little bit of an amount of grace here by saying if you go back and you actually look at that raw footage, you can see her literally reconsidering what she is saying as it's coming out of her mouth. She's looking off in space and trying to think, well, did this happen? And then she said, well, just show the footage because y'all got the footage for everything else. That girl was so far under the influence, she really does not remember what happened. She was dead serious with this denial, which brings me right back to Tamar. As I stated earlier, that little slight homophobic dog whistle coupled with the fact that they acting like I'm not a female. And I think, he like boys. I don't know if he's gay or not. I don't want to be rude. Girl, that had nothing to do with anything. You cannot rest in your femininity when you have been a thug for the entirety of your existence. But James bore the brunt of that in the comment section. And then you all went back at LaTroy, pulling up all of his old tweets to prove that he never liked Chrisean and always made fun of her, which forced him to then post the thread comments between him and Chrisean's team, where they are clearly talking about her being able to come to the show and being brought up on the stage. But in his defense, like he said, there was no discussion of her actually performing. So in Tamar's defense, she was correct when she said that not in any of that raw footage behind the scenes did she ever say, Chrisean, I want you to come on stage and perform. That was a misinterpretation on Chrisean's part. However, it was due to Tamar's lack of communication skills and her lack of professionalism. Let's be fair on both sides. And let me be clearer about this. Tamar has literally been in this industry since she was a child. Tamar has over 30 years in the game under her belt. So the fact that Chrisean was so green that she really thought that at the Love and War concert, where she got on the stage with Tamar as Tamar was singing Love and War, the title track, this girl was so green that she didn't even realize that that's how the headliner is closing out the show. And never anywhere in the world does somebody come and sing behind the headliner. She was literally standing there waiting to perform when Tamar walked her off the stage. And before we get to the funeral, I'm going to take the time out to go ahead and remind you all of how folks was saying that James was just clout chasing and dry begging for money with no proof because Tamar would not just come out and confirm his story. Now, this is your bestie for over a decade, and I want you all to listen to how shamed and humbled and embarrassed James was while Tamar sat over there silent when she could have put a stop to this a long time ago. Oh, I don't want to hear nothing about me being petty, because we're going to listen to this.
So let me just tell y'all this, because everybody want to tell stories and tell their versions and their side of the stories and blah, blah, blah. You still got to keep joy in stuff. So what will be wrong with people? I really don't. All I did was went to work, child. I went to work and did my job. But let me tell y'all, I love y'all. And I thank y'all for supporting me. And I just thank y'all for having my back. And y'all already know what type of person I am. I had work today. I had 2 jobs. So I had to sing today and I had to cater. And I had to cash at me because I missed my job today. So somebody owed me. Y'all don't. But let me put my cash out because I need child. I'm an independent contractor. Chefs. I missed out on work today. Cash app is picked. Sorry. Yeah, everybody buy a badge for $1. Let me just tell y'all. Still got jokes. Let me tell you what ain't nobody gonna do. Ain't nobody gonna take my joy. Ain't nobody gonna take my praise. Ain't nobody gonna take my worship. I just did it, Troy. Ain't nobody gonna take my worship. And let me tell you the crazy thing in this whole situation. Y'all should see my fucking face. Ooh. And I still got joy. I am, God is the joy and the strength of my life. And that's that. That's it. That's all.
So to be clear on my comment under James's IG post, this is what I'm talking about. You just heard this man say that he's an independent contractor and he done missed 2 gigs because he can't perform because of what Chrisean did to him. Sweetie, I said, James, at this point, you need to just go ahead and post your own receipts and show and prove because this is going to mess up your reputation. He was already missing gigs and he already had people questioning his integrity, thinking that he's just out here dry begging and clout chasing because Tamar wouldn't come out and confirm his story. So he needed to go ahead and put out his own receipts. Even at a regular job, if you miss work saying that, oh, it's because I was injured and I was in the hospital, they would require for you to bring that doctor's receipt, that doctor's note, and prove it. So I wasn't saying anything that is not a standard in every industry. You're only as good as your reputation and as your last gig. And if you're missing gigs saying that you can't perform because you're injured, but you're not showing any proof of your injury, that just makes James look flaky. But the real flaky person here was Tamar, because she could have cleared this up, cleared James's name, because LaTroy was the first one to come out to try to defend James. And none of this was necessary if Tamar would have just come out and said exactly what it was. Chrisean out here drunk and under the influence and bewildered and confused, thinking that she really didn't do anything because Tamar didn't come out and say anything and nobody had posted any receipts. This all could have been cleared up by Tamar because all of it was caused by Tamar. She wasn't even embarrassed until she saw that Tony looked embarrassed and mortified at how Chrisean was acting. It's amazing how we just saw this movie and yet and still already there's a sequel out. Way too soon. You know, the movie where an act of violence definitely did occur. And instead of either deciding to not say anything about it at all so that this does not play out in the court of public opinion and it only plays out in the court of law, the beans were spilled. And then after that, we have people coming out giving cryptic messages, talking around the subject, not giving enough details. And then that's when the accusations and the mistrust sets in. This just happened. And we have to stop protecting violent people from the genesis. And the way we combat that is by telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So let me just play a few snippets about how some of the talking points that happen with this situation is already starting to come into play as it pertains to Chrisean and James coming out and half speaking on stuff.
And when you look at this particular situation, if you take the out of the situation, we wouldn't even have known this had ever happened. If this was just an argument between Tory and Megan and Kelsey and whoever, love triangle.
You take that dang on liquor out of the situation. Just, man, if you say he been doing that for years and he been doing that to a lot of people, if you have a history of that, eventually he needed to sit down so he can learn his lesson so he don't do it no more.
See, this is just a reminder of what Meg went through due to all of this confusion when she didn't tell the truth in the beginning. But unlike that situation, there was no weapon involved that we know of. But once again, do you see how she mentioned, no, the problem is if the alcohol was not there to begin with, we would not have had this situation. And also how this was a repeated pattern of behavior and how you're going to have to go through this with somebody who acts like this all the time in order to teach them a lesson, because that's the only way to get them to stop doing it. This is why Chrisean should have never been protected from the very beginning. But let me go ahead. Let me just play a couple more clips because I want you all to really feel the wrath of how folks did not believe Meg and all of the turmoil that it caused from her not telling the whole truth from the beginning. Let me make my point.
Till Megan decides to get the courage to tell the police who her in the foot, keep dragging the bitch, okay? Period. Now, moving on. He was like, bitch, pow, pow. So that's what happened. It's not funny, but it is funny because she ain't taking it serious. So when she take it serious, we'll take it serious. That's what I'm saying.
You see that? Listen to how disgusting that was. So this is exactly what was happening when Chrisean came out with her version of the story and James came out with his version of the story, and nobody wanted to produce a receipt to either clear their name or confirm what had happened. They were dragging James just like this in the comments. You can still go and look for yourself because people don't even bother to go back and admit that they were wrong or to go back and delete the vile and disgusting stuff that they say when they are being loud and wrong. It's still out there. Go read it for yourself. So he had to go through that on top of him already being injured, just like Meg. Let's continue, though.
What's even worse than that phone call? there was a post, I think, on the Shade Room about him and the case, whatever. A random person in the comments, someone that doesn't even have a blue check by their name, said, Kelsey Megan. And he responded with his verified Instagram account, that's not true. That was given to the jury.
Why would you do that?
So you just undermined your own defense.
You're supposed to run with that.
See, by letting the whole back and forth happen before she just came out and shut it down, some of the stuff that was stated in these lives and in these comments could actually hurt somebody in court. And it's particularly egregious because if y'all know, remember, Tamar had gone through this with Vince, and it took Mama Evelyn forever to come out and say, "No, this has been going on for a while." And that's the same thing that's going on with our baby Keke Palmer right now. Come to find out, this has been going on for over a year, and her mom is just now speaking out about it. At what point in time are we going to have a funeral for this behavior of protecting violent people and just go ahead and put this to bed for once and for all? We have seen this movie before. We don't need to see it again. And in fact, what we need to do is when somebody shows us who they are, believe them the first time. Chrisean has been nothing but violent for the entirety of her fame. Just like Tamar has been nothing but drama. And had somebody believed and put Tory in jail when he attacked Dax, or after he attacked Prince, or after he attacked August Alsina, or any of the women that he's had altercations with, we never would have gotten to Meg's injuries. We have this thing about protecting people who don't even deserve our protection, and it's at our own expense. It's time to dead this whole hurt people, and she had a rough childhood and all of this other stuff, just like we need to dead the double standards, because you and I know full well that had the shoe been on the other foot and Chrisean had been alleging that a man hit her, whether he was gay or not, it would not have mattered. Y'all would have dragged this man. You would have demanded that he had been put in jail first, and then we'll investigate it later. And you know you would have. Because not only was she able to weaponize her womanhood versus his manhood to play the victim, but she also has the complexion for protection in a way that James and Keke and Meg did not quite have. Plus the fact that James has another added element of intersectionality by being in the LGBTQ community. Nobody was going to speak up for him. And Tamar speaking up for him came way too little, too late.